like to challenge you in the way that you approach your herbal business to build it on a base of joy before anything else. And there are a couple of reasons for this. The first one being is because I honestly believe that we produce our best work and do the best things that we possibly can when we are in that state of contentment and able to serve others when we have that base of joy. And this is particularly important for herbal business owners because what we do, and it applies across the board, no matter if you make herbal products, you see clients, you teach workshops, you run an herbal blog, any of these things, the message and the feelings, the energy that you give to your clients and customers kind of comes across in the work that you do. And so we really need to be conscious of how we're building our business and building it with joy rather than stress and overwork. We need to start with that joy so that we can build this strong business that is sustainable, something that we enjoy doing, but also that we are able to just give to those customers and clients the best that we possibly can. Another reason that it's so important to focus on that joy is that there are actually studies to show that we retain information better when we are happy and when we when we have joy, when we're happy, we retain information and also have a better output and results based on our mood. And so focusing on that first before you start to grind and work yourself to the bone, if you focus on that joy first, one, it's going to be more fun to do it, but two, you're going to actually have better results and have a more sustainable business over the long term and hopefully have more happy clients, which is really what building a great business is all about. So now I would like to share a couple of the things that have really helped me in the way that I have built my business from a place of joy. And I really do believe that I have done this from the beginning. And a lot of it has been to do with not treating it as a must, but treating it as a experiment from the beginning. And so this is really, you need to believe that you can do it, but giving it that space to grow at the right time is really important. And for a lot of people, this means kind of growing it as a side hustle so that you have the financial security at least to experiment with your other business on the side at the same time is firstly, a really good idea to be able to approach it with joy, with happiness, rather than stress that it must meet the bills. So that's the first thing. And that's definitely what I did as far as I had freelance clients and I worked as a freelance virtual assistant and website developer kind of thing while I was building my business at the same time. And that would just took the pressure off and was helped to so that I could always approach it with joy, even though throughout that whole process, I was always sure that it was going to work. I wasn't quite sure how, but I had this belief that it would work going forward in some way, one or the other. And this is really important to keep that vision alive so that you keep on going, even when sometimes it seems a little bit tricky. The first thing to do, in my opinion, for really to foster joy in how you're approaching your business is when you need to, take a break. This is so important because as human beings, we are not supposed to work all the time. I mean, look at the world around us. There are seasons of life. There's the winter, the spring, the summer, the autumn, the winter, and it goes in this cycle because the world itself takes breaks. We are supposed to take breaks when we need to. And doing that is actually going to help bring you more joy in the way that you approach things because you have those rests when you need to and you work when you need to. And so if you're feeling like you're close to being burned out, take a break. It's so important and you just need to, and just give it that space that you need to, communicate it as you need to with your clients, your customers, and take that break. But you'll find that when you do, you kind of come back and you have that mental space better to work and to move forward from there. It makes a lot more sense to take a break when you need to. The next thing that has really worked well for me, and this I have been doing it for a long time, right back since school and uni days when I was studying, school and in pharmacy school, was mind games to like basically pretend that I like doing something that I don't like doing that much. And so I actually have written as my Facebook status years ago, back in, I'm not sure, 2010 or something like that, that I find it so much more fun to learn about organic chemistry when I pretend I'm a crazy scientist who's learning about it for the first time in history. And I still remember that afternoon. I had the test that week and I was studying for it. And for someone who studied organic chemistry, you might know that it's not always that fun. Chemistry was actually my favorite subject in school, but there are some pretty bland parts about organic chemistry where you do just need to memorize things, and it's not that fun. But when I kind of tricked my brain, I basically convinced myself that I liked it, and I was doing it for the first time. I wasn't just memorizing something that someone else has done before. I was that scientist learning how to do it for the first time in history, and it made it more fun. And it also brings us back to that point that we talked about before, that when you're enjoying something, you're more likely to retain the information and produce better work. And so this is really important because I was doing this before just out of instinct, I think, when in high school and uni, because I found that I was able to get really good results on my tests when I pretended I liked it. But I continued this throughout like my work and also now because it works. And it also applies. So if you can think, probably the most boring thing I can think of doing in herbal business is like GMPs and the processes, especially for a creative type like me. Like going through and actually doing those processes is a bit boring. But if you approach it from this way, in that like if you spend like maybe 5 minutes before you start working on your processes to think about how it could be fun and finding joy in that process and making it like a fun process for you, you are probably going to like get those GMPs done faster. They will be better, and the end result is more positive. And like, so the key there is just like finding a way to make it seem like fun. Like maybe you pretend that you're doing this because or like for a purpose, even you could say you're getting in the inspection and that's why you need to do it. Or like you pretend that you enjoy doing it. Like that actually works. It sounds crazy, but I can tell you from experience, it does work. Like pretend you like something, then do it, and you find it's more fun. it works. And the flip side of this is when you have other emotions, you can actually channel them to bring back the joy as well. So I want to give an example here of back, like 5 or 6 years ago, I worked as like a medical writer primarily. This was when I first moved to Italy, and I had just graduated in pharmacy, but I couldn't work as a pharmacist here. So I started writing articles about medicines online. And a lot of these articles were like for SEO purposes, so they were just kind of pretty boring and easy to write articles, I would say, from a health professional perspective. So from my background, it was easy for me to write the articles. I found that when I was angry, I was able to write these articles a lot more efficiently. And so I would use this to my advantage. So for example, I might have just had a fight with my husband, or perhaps there was something else going on personally that like just got me really riled up. And then instead of just being angry, I would go upstairs in my office and just like type away and get my little articles written. And I would like pump out maybe 3 or 4 in a couple of hours, which was a significant amount. And in that time I was getting paid per article. So it was like really just channeling that anger. But then the end of this cycle is that at the end, you're all angry and you've like kind of worked your anger out. And then you get to the end and you're like, I just did 4 articles. And then that joy comes back based on the accomplishment that you did. And that can work again in anything. It might be like, I think that anger tends to work with like automatic tasks, something that you like know so well that you can just do while you're angry and you're not going to make mistakes. So like, just something that you might be like cleaning bottles. It might be something that is really an automatic task that's a part of your business or repetitive. Maybe it's sticking on labels. It might be whatever it is. For me it was writing articles, which could be a creative task for someone, but because I knew the subject so well, it was kind of an automatic task. It was getting the information and putting it and presenting it in a way. But like working out the anger is really, really important. And the final kind of tip I have for bringing in the joy as you build your business is probably one of the most important ones, and one that I can say I have been doing like throughout, like from student to working continuously as well, definitely. And this is what I call my delayed dream list. And so I'm going to tell you how this started because I think it makes the most sense. This was when I was studying for my final exams in high school, and I would say the final 6 weeks are pretty tough, probably because I'd been slacking off for the first part, but definitely the last couple of months, you're just studying because you need to get good grades. If I was set on going to pharmacy school, so I needed to get good grades to get into that university course in Australia. And so I was really, really focused, and there was all of these things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't because I needed to study. And this is like really kind of a similar situation in terms of building a business. Like you really want to build a business, you're really motivated. There's things that you want to do that you can't do if you really want to do it. And so this is kind of like beating the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like if other people are doing things and you want to do it, but you just can't really justify it. The delayed dream list is the way to get around that. And what it is just writing down what you want to do in a list, but not actually doing it until you have time to do it. And the key here is that, like, firstly, you get pleasure out of writing it down on the list. Okay, so just writing it down, it's kind of like I'm not sure if everyone does this, but I get a lot of joy out of looking at restaurant menus, looking at hotels, just like because I imagine being there, imagine the experience, and then but don't actually do it. I get pleasure out of just looking at it. And it's the same with the delayed dream list. I write it down. Does anyone else do that? Like just look at things for the fun but not actually do it, or like look at the event layouts and things like that. I definitely do that. If you do that, let me know in the comments because I'm interested to know. But I write down all manner of different things. So it might be just things like go shopping, I've never written go to a spa, but if you like spas, it might be go to a spa, go to the beach. What I did write down, I had a lot of like kind of strange things written. This is back when I was 17 that I wrote this, and the first time I did this when I was studying for my final exams, 17, 18. And I actually wrote down spend 40 hours up a tree. And I remember that this is because there was my friends were all doing the 40-hour famine, but instead of doing that, I just wrote down on my list spend 40 hours up a tree. But the funny part was, at the end, when I had actually done my exams, you have this period of time after you do the exams before you get the results, and I actually did spend 40 hours up a tree, and I had a lovely mother who brought me my food to the tree. But the point was that I wanted to do that, but it wasn't really practical to do that while I was studying, and it wouldn't be practical to do that while you're trying to build your business, but you could build in specific pockets of time where that sort of thing is possible. So it might be going for a trip in a camper van, it might be anything, going to see your grandparents, it might be doing a trip with your children, anything that it is, but building that in and writing it on your list, your delayed dream list, and just finding the time to do that later. And I, just as another example, I do that also now in terms, I have 2 young kids, and for anyone who has had kids before, I'm willing to bet that you resonate with how it feels sometimes that you just don't have the time to do everything you want to do. And there's some things that I want to do, but it's not quite the right time in my life to do right now. And that goes on my delayed dream list. And so I can look back at it later, and it gives me that peace that it's not happening now, but I can make it happen in the future. And I'm not going to forget that idea. That's why it's really important. And just writing it down on the list honestly really does give me joy. And I'm willing to bet if you start to do this, it's going to give you joy too. And it's going to help with growing your business. But each of these things, it's really focusing on like, it doesn't change what you're actually doing on your business. You always have that strong vision of where you want to go and what you want to do with your business. But it's just around like shuffling your emotions and the way you approach what you do to channel that joy and get what needs to get done in the most fulfilling way possible. And this, like I said at the beginning, is so important because it really does follow through into your customers as well. The way you create, that's the feeling that you're going to be giving to your customers as well when they get your products, your services, your classes, whatever it is that you offer. You're giving that feeling to them, and they are going to receive that in the way that you run your business. So if there's one thing that you can take away from this video, I would really like to encourage you to try out some of these things or something else that works for you, to really start from that base of joy when building your business. I am going to be posting more videos here often, so please do hit like and hit subscribe, because I want to grow this channel and spread the joy to more people. And really, like, more than anything, just get more herbal businesses running and out there to the people, and the community that we can build around this is so important. So please do hit subscribe and join along. We're going to have more videos coming, but I hope that you are having a wonderful day, and I wish you all the best in your herbal business building journey, and let's go on and do this together.